Guys, welcome to the Homestead. I got a whole bunch of things I want to talk about in the coming days, videos I want to do, but I want to get started with this one first. Just got back from a trip to Grand Canyon with my boys. It's been a trip that we've been wanting to take for a number of years, and so we finally made that trip. Left on a Wednesday morning, came back on a Sunday morning. We drove straight through. We stopped on the way there and slept a few hours at a gas station, and then kept on going. And then Sunday or Saturday evening, we started back and didn't stop. I drove right through. So had a great time. Had lots of pictures. Got to do some of the trailheads. Fantastic. I'll do a whole rundown over at patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead for those of you interested in visiting the Grand Canyon, and why now really is a great time to do it in the fall. And so we'll talk about that over at Patreon. Also got a lot of other great stuff at Patreon. It's butchering season. People are going to be butchering a lot of animals. I have butchering videos over there if you're interested in chickens, sheep, cows, steers, things like that. I've got videos over there showing you the breakdown of how I do the butchering and a whole lot of other great stuff for subscribers. So check it out, patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead. Link is in the description below. Now, just last week, I saw reported that Glock is discontinuing its model, most of its models, because of the ability for someone to 3D print Glock switches and put them on the Glock, making them fully automatic. Now, these have been around for a while. They're absolutely, there's no real reason, unless you put the Glock into some sort of configuration where you can shoulder it, and which they do make those things. I just don't see that as a viable. It's something that you saw on movies, on TV, these gangbangers out there side firing their Glocks with Glock switches. But there's really no tactical purpose for these things at all whatsoever. All that is, forget it. There have been people who have been killed, and of course the feels of the politicians are saying, hey, we have to get rid of these things, and we're going to pass a law. In fact, they did pass a law in California that says Glock is no longer allowed to be sold here, and Glock capitulated. It bowed the knee, it kissed the ring, and said, no, master, no, we will go ahead and change our designs in order to prevent this horrible, horrible Glock switch from being installed on our devices, on our firearms. They bowed the knee. And it just, it's like, oh, gosh. This does not change anything. Okay? In fact, in the article, most of the articles I've read, you can easily take a file down this new thing that the Glock is putting on their firearms, and you can put the Glock switch back on. It doesn't change anything. You know what changes things is not complying. That's what changes things. And there are a number of examples throughout history where you can point to, but the reality is we live in a country today that loves to comply with the king's general orders. When the kings come down and say, hey, this is what you must do, we say, okay, sounds fantastic, let's do that. Why? Because it interrupts the gravy train. This is one of the reasons why I told you before we weren't going to war back in the day when Trump had his first term and everyone's thinking we're going to war with Russia. I'm like, no. There's too many gravy trains running. Do you understand? I don't know if you've been paying attention, but just the other day, we are now at 38, my friends, $38 trillion in debt. Congratulations. Another milestone has been reached. I hardly saw it reported anywhere, even online. We passed 38. It was 36, and it was 37, and that was kind of news, and every time we reach, now it's just another $1 trillion. But see, that affects the gravy train. Why? The gravy trains are still running. The issue is that the gravy trains aren't worth as much. Your buying power has been reduced. The dollar's not worth as much. You can't get as much for it. And so another $1 trillion. Now we're at 38 trillion. The gravy trains are looking much less profitable and much more likely, if you have a lens of history, when in doubt, zoom out. When money's not worth it anymore, people go to war, societies collapse, economic uncertainty leads to political instability, and you have collapses of nations. That's what you see over and over and over again. And that's why I think more likely, we're in a place where we can go to war, because the military-industrial complex is a fantastic way historically to always generate a lot of money.
Damn, skip me.
The way we avoid this, again, is to not comply. Years ago, when all these EPA standards started coming out for vehicles. The vehicle companies could have said, you know what? We're just not going to sell in your state. We're just not going to sell in your country. And yeah, but see, the gravy train is a very, very powerful force. That money, everyone loves the money. And so they complied. But you know what you do is you say, you know what? We're just not going to sell here anymore. We're just not going to, push our products and have our stores open. We're just going to close everything. And then at that point, the people are like, you know what? We kind of want our cars. We want our vehicles. Who in the heck mandated this garbage? Let's put their heads on a stake. Then you have torches and pitchforks, and nature heals itself. Likewise, just a couple years ago, it was January 1st, 2024, the state of California, in all of its infinite wisdom, says, you know what? You're not allowed to buy lawnmowers anymore. You're not allowed to buy lawnmowers. No more lawnmowers for you. Because gas, that destroys the environment. I can't believe how much pollution this puts out. And so we're going to not allow you to buy and sell lawnmowers anymore. And so all the lawnmower manufacturers out there, Toro and all these other ones, don't worry, we'll comply. We'll put out electric ones, battery-operated ones, and you'll like those. And even though they're horrible, they don't stand up to time. They wear out. They don't have the power of the gas-powered ones. People use them, and they're still being sold. And so you can't get gas. See, what if Toro and all these other companies were smart, John Deere and all these other ones, Craftsman, just pull out. Be like, you know what? We're not selling here anymore. I'm sorry, no lawnmowers for you. We're not going to comply. And you pressure, and the companies stand up for themselves. But the gravy train is a very powerful force. You can't do that because we love the money. And so we'll make changes. We'll make arrangements. We'll figure out a way to get our products to you. Even though we don't make as much money on them because it costs all kinds of research and development. It's not as reliable anymore. And so the products are breaking. People are complaining. They hate our companies because we're producing now an inferior product that nobody really wanted, only the government wanted. If you'd have just pulled out and said no more, the people would get angry, demand heads on the pike, and tar and feathers would ensue, and nature would heal itself. Glock, there's a reason why Glock is Glock. It's a reliable handgun. I mean, it's the most reliable handgun I've ever owned. And I love my Glock. If they just said, you know what, we're not going to sell here anymore. Law enforcement, military, whatever, goodbye. We're not selling here anymore. Because your state is being run by idiots. Glock perfection. Well, not so much. Just go say goodbye. Take the hit and move on, and trust me, they will come around. Because the law enforcement will raise holy hell. The people will raise up and say, enough of this madness. We like our things. We like the things that work. And nature would heal itself. Tar and feathers has a great way of allowing nature to heal itself. Because the politicians aren't afraid of its people. They're not afraid of, companies who produce good products. They like to bully everybody, and they like to get rich in the process. The politicians and the lawyers are the only ones who make out like bandits here. And the only way you fix it is to stop complying. That's why Shakespeare, I've said many times on my channel, Shakespeare said, first thing we do, kill all the lawyers. Because most of the lawyers have become politicians. Yeah, I won't ever vote for a politician again who's been a lawyer. That's why I voted for Trump, because he's not a lawyer. That was one of the main reasons. And so far, as I don't agree with everything he's done for sure by any means, but for the most part, I'm ecstatic with a lot of the things he's been doing. You gotta wait and see and watch the show. We're now $38 trillion in debt, ladies and gentlemen. Your dollar's not coming back from that. It's not. We are going to face a collapse, and the more these companies keep complying in order to keep the gravy trains running, all that's doing is weakening and lessening the purchasing power of your dollar. That's all it is doing. Just to keep that train running. That's all it's doing. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below. Also, check out our merchandise over at sanctifiedsupply.com. I love that Stupid Shit Hurt shirt. It is my favorite shirt. It is my best-selling shirt of all time. You can find it over only at sanctifiedsupply.com. They have an entire list of some of my favorite shirts there. And they have also other great shirts that you see me wearing oftentimes on my channel. Speaking of Glock, they're the ones who sell that shirt. David used a rock, I use a Glock. And if you're interested in that shirt, there's always people in the comment section wanting that shirt. It's over at sanctifiedsupply.com. You can check them out. And then check out my Stupid Shit Hurt shirt, the best-selling shirt of all time. If we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful, awful lot less stupid. No doubt about it. We'd have an awful lot less battery-operated lawnmowers. Oh, did you know? In 2028, generators will now be banned in the state of California. Gas-powered generators. You're now only going to be able to use battery-powered generators for your home in the state of California after 2028. Do you hear my generator running right now? Can you hear it? You know why it's running? Because the sun has not shined in 5 days here. That's why it's running. And so you in California, when the sun doesn't shine for 5 days because you've had a lot of rain, cloud cover come in, and your battery power doesn't work anymore either because it's solar power. It's charged by being solar, but you can't charge your battery powered generator because there is no sun. You're going to really wish you had a gas-powered generator at that time because you can just go down to the gas station and get more gas. Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. And you'll allow it, and you'll comply, and you'll thank your overlords for their omnipotent superpowers rather than demanding their head on a pike and letting nature heal itself with tar and feathers. That's what you'll do. That's what you do. That's what you always do. All right, what do you think? Love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. I got lots of other stuff coming out soon. Some of you may have heard I'm engaged. So I got a lot of stuff being shared over at patreon.com. When it comes to that, including her, it's going to be coming out soon at some point, her fantastic recipe for lentil bread. I never knew you could make bread with lentils, but you can do it, and it's fantastic. It's great. I love it. So we're thinking about making gyros, gyros. That's like I'm a foodie, so I'm like gyros, gyros, kebabs, depending on where you live in Europe, they're called different things. But with that lentil bread, it's really good. Okay, leave a comment. Love to hear your thoughts. Love you. See you next time with the Homestead. Bye. One of the best perks about living off-grid is that I never pay an electric bill. I love being my own power company, but that means when things go wrong, I have to be the one on call. So I try and use reliable components for my power production. For the last couple of years, I have been promoting OUPES solar generators. I've been using them and abusing them, and as it turns out, they are pretty good products. They have power generators for all occasions, and they can be charged by permanent or portable solar panels, as well as AC power. They offer true lithium iron phosphate batteries, and this is important. Recently, a family in my area had a different brand that uses the less stable nickel manganese cobalt or NMC type batteries. The unit caught fire in the middle of the night. It was a scary situation and it caused damage to the home, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The generator, as you can see, was a total loss. This drives home the point on why it's so important to employ solar generators like the OUPES brand that uses the much more safe and stable technology of lithium iron phosphate, otherwise called LiFePO4. They offer small generators for travel or for powering an entire home and everything in between. These are great backups to have in a medical emergency or to power a freezer full of your favorite meat products, or as I have shown in past videos, for even backup AC and DC power sources for ham radio communications. If the grid goes down, you're going to be thankful you have one of these units. You can find the link in the description of this video or click on the banner ad found on the front page of our website at AmericanHomestead.com. Right here, that banner ad right there on AmericanHomestead.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the Homestead that we make here on the Homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.